It's a Social Millennial podcast. We out here. Gang. What up, y'all? I hope you had a great week. Thank you for pulling up to the show. Let me make sure that this mic is going. It absolutely is. Thank you for these levels. Let's make sure we are on and recording. What up? Y'all know what it is. Thank you so much for being here once again. For those of y'all who are new, this is the Social Millennial Podcast. It's just a little kickback. My name is Marcuspena. This is Marcus Pena Presents, the Social Millennial Podcast. It's just a little kickback. You know, I talk about things that I enjoyed, that interested me this week. Sometimes it'll be news. Sometimes it'll be politics. Sometimes it's NYC. We out here. 27 Rings. What up? Sometimes it's sports. You know, just things that I enjoyed this week. I'm definitely going to miss certain things. Sometimes I don't really talk major topics. Sometimes I talk the obscure things, science, etc. But this is what this space is. We are on social media, y'all. That is at Social Millennial Pod, SocialMillenialpod. That's everywhere except Twitter. All right, we ain't on Twitter. I don't think I'm gonna get on X anytime soon. Just had some rough experiences with that platform and dealing with that platform in the past. And it does not have to do with the people that are on there. It doesn't have to do with the content that's on there, or like whatever the popular consensus is about Elon or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. Just had some issues with them and and trying to get things going on the back end. But we are on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Definitely check us out. We have a good time. We have a good time on all of those platforms. Excuse me. For those of y'all watching, what up? Thank y'all for pulling up, giving the show a view so that we can kind of keep on going. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Make sure when you do subscribe to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as to when we are posted up and when we are premiering, because most of these episodes will be set up to premiere. We're usually dropping, for those who don't know, on Fridays Eastern Standard Time at 6 a.m. and the episodes just stay available. So you don't have to pull up at 6 a.m. But, you know, maybe you want something for your morning commute. For those who do not know, we are on audio. So all podcast platforms, if I'm not mistaken, all that exist. If not, let us know what platform that you use in the comments, or in the comments of any of our social medias. And we'll do what we can to get the show on that platform. But right now, all major platforms, if you want just the audio version and you don't want to have to go over and have the video playing, even though I do 100% suggest that you head on over to YouTube and enjoy the visual component. Again, at Social Millennial Pod. Type at Social Millennial Pod or Social Millennial Pod in the search, and it will take you directly to us. If you do like the Social Millennial Podcast, it's gonna return a whole lot of wildness. But we would definitely appreciate if you just only listen to the audio, to head on over to the YouTube, head on over to the video component, watch for a few seconds, maybe just the intro. It'll count as a view, and it helps the show. Right, y'all? It helps the show. Thank you so much for doing so. We are on the major podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts. We're not on Google Podcasts no more. Google Podcasts is over and is folded into YouTube Podcasts. So we are there. I believe we are on Pandora. We are on Radio Public. So definitely look for us, or just Google us. I mean, you'll find us. You'll find our link tree, etc. For those who are not dealing with the major podcast platforms, who don't do the newfangled apps, maybe y'all like the old fashioned sort of blog RSS feed style of content presentation, or maybe you're at work and you want to jump on and listen to the podcast, have the podcast going while you're working from your computer. There will be a link in the description of this episode, and that is on the audio and on the video component. There will be a link there. For some, it will show up as the word homepage. You can just tap or click on that. For others, it will show up as homepage and then the link right under. Hit that link and it's going to send you to a landing page. That is the landing page that features all of our episodes from the beginning to now, all in audio format. very old school looking style website, and you can enjoy that if you like using your web browser for these kinds of things, or if you're just relegated to using that because you're at your job and you don't want to jump on Spotify, etc. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for pulling up. If y'all noticed, the episodes on YouTube and on the audio are on the podcast itself are staggered now. They didn't used to be. They are staggered now because we now do 2 episodes a week. The bonus episode is over on our Patreon. There will be a link in the description, the audio and video podcast descriptions, wherever you may enjoy it. There will be something there to click on to head on over to the Marcus Pena Presents Media Group Patreon, where you can enjoy our bonus episodes. Now, the bonus episodes are a little spicy. The bonus episodes are firstly an extension of the show, so we get to talk about more stuff and not have to stay on this one episode for 2 hours. But also, I'm a little bit freer over there. The language is a little bit more colorful. The opinion's a little bit more spicy. You feel me? I'm able to kind of let loose and talk about certain things that I don't kind of want to put on YouTube because it might get censored, etc., etc. Demonetized for those who know, you know. If you know, you know. So if you want to go support this channel, this outlet, this show, this brand in a greater way or in a more direct way, outside of giving us a like, giving us a heart, giving us a review, giving us a star rating, and commenting and sharing our platforms, interacting with our platforms, and you want to kind of sow a seed into what I'm trying to do here as a Afro-Latino Jewish creative, pull up to the Patreon. There will be a link in the description. Like I said, we've got 2 subscriber tiers already. The first one is a supporter tier. Maybe you don't want all of them. Maybe you don't want the content, but you believe in the brand. You want to stand behind the brand. You want to stand behind the Marcus Pena Presents Media Group. You can drop a few dollars on that subscription tier. It's called the supporter tier, and you'll just be supporting us, supporting the development of the show. We've actually come a long way, and I'm very grateful to those who have supported and sowed seeds in. Thank you so much. We're only getting bigger and better. We're looking to expand. We're looking to expand into a multi-camera setup, and we're looking to expand into a different space. So that's what's going to be happening in the coming months, hopefully. Now, if y'all want the bonus episode, the second tier is We Here. We Here. All right, y'all, because we here. There you will get the bonus episode. Just like the free episodes that y'all will continue to get every single week, there is an audio and a video component. So if you just want to get the audio, you can just get the audio. If you just want to watch the video, you can watch the video. So head on over there. After you've given this a few seconds of view time, so it counts as a view, head on over to the Patreon and enjoy. Sometimes there will be both the audio and the video. Sometimes it'll just be the audio. I've got problems sometimes with the uploads of the videos through Patreon for whatever reason. It's just giving me issues. The internet is giving me issues trying to upload them. They're done, but like last week's hasn't been uploaded in video format. But please understand, you will be getting an episode that is a bonus at that membership tier, no matter what. All right, y'all. So absolutely guaranteed you're getting an audio bonus episode. And I just do my darndest to try to get this video episode uploaded and basically wrestle with the Patreon platform to get this uploaded, and wrestle with my ISP to get it uploaded. But it's over there. I'm looking to host more shows. I've got a few other shows that are in development that will be featured over there, and I'll probably do the same format where there will be a YouTube channel, there will be free content, and there will be paid content. I'm super hype about it. I'm very excited about it. Bringing some more talented people into the fray, to really, just be out here, represent. You feel me? And I'm gonna be bringing in. I'm gonna be doing more content on the Patreon. So movie reviews, etc. Let's plays. I'm really into gaming. film commentary. I'm just hype about things. There's some EPs that I'm trying to develop for this year that I'll give y'all some advanced listens to, allow y'all to kind of voice your opinions about it. So there will be more subscriber tiers coming, more content. Again, thank y'all so much. Supporting us with a like, a thumbs up, with a heart, with a star review the podcast, supporting us with a comment, interact with us on the various platforms in the way that the platform allows. It goes a long way to helping this podcast. And we sincerely thank you so much for just pulling up on us for however long that y'all do. Thank you. Thank you so much. For those who want to sow a seed and jump on the memberships, absolutely do that. We will be very, very grateful to you for hitting the memberships. Now, if you do go to Patreon and you hit the shop icon, the shop tab, you can buy content off of the platform one by one, piecemeal. You can buy it piecemeal. But I would suggest hitting the membership tab and subscribing. The price is much, much lower. I'm not charging Netflix prices, y'all. Nowhere close to Netflix prices. Nowhere close to Disney Plus prices after they upped their. I'm nowhere near any of these other platforms' prices. It's very, very cheap, very, very affordable. Because I want y'all to connect. You'll be the day ones. All right, now that we got all of that out the way, paying some bills. You feel me? I had a great week. I had a wonderful week. So hype. Cloud nine. It took me a day to recover after, but I went to go see Dirty Loops. Now, for those of you who don't know who Dirty Loops is, I'll probably drop a link in the links section in the description. So y'all can kind of, if you're not introduced to this group, y'all can be introduced to this group. The music is fire. They're like, think Duran Duran meets Stevie Wonder meets like Journey or Dream Theater. Hyper high level musicianship and catchy tunes and great vocals. Each of these members, it's a 3-member band. Each of these members, it's like watching a circus act. It's like, and I don't say that to minimize their talent. I mean that it's as if they're doing death-defying stunts, because they keep you on the edge of their seats with their musical arrangements. They keep you on the edge of their seats with the depth of their physical skill. Vocalists, can hit pitches that are crazy, can run in pitches that are like, whoa. Your jaw will be dropped. Pause. The singer is also the keys player, and when he's playing, it's on another level. The bass player is from another planet. I'm telling you, drummer is phenomenal. I'm a big fan of Dirty Loops when they first dropped. Been following them for forever, and it was a great experience, y'all. It was at Irving Plaza here in NYC, and wow, what an experience. We were pretty close to the stage. I should have already started cycling through some pictures from that event on the visual side, so you guys can kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of what happened. I got to meet them afterwards. They were so cool. They were so chill. They came to the merch table after the show and just cut up with everybody. Just cut up and were there until everyone got their fill of them. And they did so free of charge. Now, when I say free of charge, I mean, when you go to certain conventions, like you go to Comic-Con or what have you, and certain celebrities are there from, say, certain superhero shows or whatever it is, often, you could get pictures with them, but it will be for a fee. You know what I'm saying? You'll buy the piece of memorabilia that you want signed, and then you'll have to pay another fee in order for them to take a picture with you. But these guys really, it was so cool. It was so cool, man. They pulled up. We didn't have to pay anything extra to take pictures with them. Didn't have to pay anything extra for them to sign our gear. I made sure to get a whole bunch of gear. And yeah, it was cloud nine. cloud nine. Watching them live, seeing them perform these feats in person, like they are legit. You know, sometimes you watch music videos and you see people from afar and produced content, and you think that you're like, oh, there must be a bunch of studio things that happen in the production process, and you know, it can't be that they perform these things in the high level or the way that they are depicting it in the music videos. You know what I'm saying? Because they're produced, because they're not live recordings essentially. But I was there and my mind was blown. It was amazing. I'm very grateful. They had said that they had not played together as a band in New York in terms of like touring for 10 years. So it was a moment. It was a moment for everybody there. It made it very special. They interacted a whole lot with us, the crowd, during the show, and it was just great. It was just great. I was glad to see them enjoying themselves too, playing, and that they've been around for as long as they have. I know that they're not as huge here in New York City or even in America as they are in Europe, because these guys are Eastern European. It's an Eastern European band that sings in English. But man, the venue was just intimate enough. It was just great. And the opening act, I haven't talked about the opening act too much on my socials, but the opening act was a group called Third Reprise, local group, if I'm not mistaken. They do sort of in the same vein as Dirty Loops did in the beginning when they blew up. They do reharmonizations and remixes and reimaginings of Broadway show tunes. And they had four vocalists that came and like led a song. And when I tell you these people were the most phenomenal vocalists, I mean, the band was phenomenal. Absolutely. The arrangements were phenomenal. I mean, the opening act was worth the price of admission off rip. Like, they were heat. And they really, how do you say? I'm saying crazy amount of times. I'm really hype. They really emphasize like, oh, we're getting you guys ready. We're priming y'all for Dirty Loops. They didn't come out trying to necessarily trying to treat it like they were the headliners themselves. They very much so pointed us our minds into and into prepping us to, oh, Dirty Loops is coming. Dirty Loops is coming. Yo, these guys are fire. If these guys are this fire, Dirty Loops is going to be on another level. So they did a very great job. I'm very glad that I got to see them as well and be introduced to this new group. But yeah, we had a great time. I was there with my dude Evan, drummer, Evan Adames. You can catch him at Drumoth, DRUMOATH. Take the oath. And phenomenal drummer. I tried to get a whole group, but you know, people want to, you know what I'm saying? The tickets weren't that expensive. That's why I was like, let's go, y'all. Hello, where y'all at? Let's go. Let's do this. Dirty Loops is going to be fire. And it just didn't materialize. But Evan and I, who go way back, we were there. It was fire. So my week was fun. Definitely. It's on a different note. I'm going to switch gears. It is Holy Week. High Holy Week. And so what, Passover time for my Jewish brethren and for my Protestants and Catholics alike. We've got Maundy Thursday. We've got Good Friday. I know we've got Resurrection Sunday. This Sunday, I know many are practicing Lent. What up, y'all? My brethren, my brothers, my sisters, practicing Lent. And this is a serious time for many of us of contemplation and discipline and sort of recentering ourselves spiritually. If anybody wants to tune in, you can head on over to Eric J. Hall Ministries on YouTube, and you got to type that in, Eric J. Hall Ministries. And that's little Eric with an E and a C at the end, J, and then Hall, like down the hall. Eric J. Hall, and you will catch us on live stream Thursday at 7, Friday at 7, and Sunday at 10:25. We've got services going on. I'll be there doing my thing, providing music for those services, for those commemorations, for those celebrations. So tune in. If you're on Facebook, same deal, Eric J. Home Ministries or Eastchester Church. Type in Eastchester Church, and you'll see the one that is live. This is the one that's in Eastchester, New York. That church should come up first, though, because of the amount of followers that we have, just what the algorithm does. And catch it. Catch it Facebook. Catch it on those two places in Facebook, and Eric J. Home Ministries on YouTube. And maybe you guys can enjoy. Maybe you'll find a place to want to come back to online every Sunday at 10:30. But yeah, on a serious note, now let's get to it. I've got a few quickies for this episode because I want to get to my Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review, because I did see it and I've got some things to say. But let's get through. Y'all know Diddy is going through right now, right? Y'all know, if for those who don't know, man, many of y'all might not, but Diddy is in the news right now. Both of his homes got raided. It was like a coast to coast concurrent raid by the FBI. Two of his sons are in custody, and Diddy is nowhere to be found. No one knows where this nigga's at. Now, I don't know how he got wind of the FBI raid, because it seems like he did. There are some rumors going around that the FBI grounded his plane, his jet. He was on a manifest to fly out. They grounded the plane, went to get him, and he wasn't there. So right now we don't know where Diddy's at. They raided both of these houses, and you know when the raid comes, it means that they got something. When FBI's pulling up with the white binder, my nigga, you are already cooked. You're done, my nigga. You're the little push pin, white push pin is pushed out. Like, ain't no more cooking, dog. You are cooked. You are sizzled. You are well done. It is time to cut you open. Like, it's done. So we don't know necessarily what the nature of the raid was. I don't think that's been made public yet, like why they went in and what they found that got them the warrant to be able to do it yet. All the details aren't there, but this is amid him getting sued by this other producer, having to do with sexual assault, having to do with a bunch of other charges that has been levied, allegations that have been levied against Diddy. This is coming also after he settled out of court with Cassie, of whom he was boyfriend, girlfriend with for a while, and whose career kind of got really stunted, whose music career and acting career got really stunted once she started dealing with Diddy. It goes way back, though, because Cassie kind of did my dude Ryan Leslie dirty. It kind of put Ryan Leslie on a certain kind of path, because Cassie was Ryan Leslie's artist on Next Selection, and Diddy kind of stole Cassie from Next Selection, because she was really blowing, because Ryan Leslie was producing her. He was running Next Selection and producing her, and she had some hits. If anybody who is old enough and washed enough to remember Cassie's single, Addicted, I'm addicted. No, I think that's Ryan Leslie's single, and she sings the hook. I'm addicted to you. I'm addicted to you. I'm so addicted. Ryan Leslie produced that. Yeah. That was his song. It was a moderate hit. She was featured on the hook of that. And then what was her other hit? Oh man, I don't remember. I'm drawing a blank. But Ryan Leslie produced that too. Ryan Leslie was producing her, was managing her, etc. And there might have been a little romance starting, but Diddy came along with big money and said, "Yo, pull up." He stole her, and then had a relationship with her for a while and kept her on the hook in terms of like not marrying her, not giving her kids, etc. She had sued him, and he settled out of court for, I don't know if it was an undisclosed amount, but I know she sued him for like $30 million, something like that. He clearly didn't want that to go to discovery. He didn't want that to go to court. She was like, I have all this knowledge. He abused me. He this, he that. So Diddy right now seems like he's cooked. Again, these are allegations. He has not had a day in court with full discovery, full probing, but it seems like that's what's coming with these raids. means you're cooked. FBI's pulling up. You got some federal crimes happening here. So this story, first story, I said we're going to have some quickies here. First story is that Diddy is no longer associated with Revolt TV in any form or fashion. Now, he started Revolt TV as a company in 2013, and this was like, the idea was trying to have sort of a black-owned media company that was steeped in the culture, basically. Like, we're not talking about a BET kind of a deal that's owned by white people, and is trying to sort of serve out what their approximation of what black people like. Revolt TV was supposed to be authentic, or more authentic, really coming from our own type of a deal, and that was Diddy's baby, right? But it's now completely under new ownership. This is according to TMZ.com. Sources familiar with the deal tell us Diddy recently sold off all of his shares to an interested buyer for an undisclosed sum. But we're told the company remains black owned, upholding its original connection and dedication to furthering the culture. Like we said, it's unclear what exactly Revolt went for when it was all said and done, but we're told the new boss wishes to remain anonymous for the time being. With that said, our sources say they share a deep passion for black culture, and they plan on publicly making a formal introduction in the coming weeks. Diddy had been inactive with the network since stepping down as chairman last November, and his last order of business was being notified of the sale, which we're told just went through this week. We're told it was an amicable deal and everyone's happy. Per our sources, Revolt CEO Detavio Samuels and Chief Brand Officer Dion Graham will remain in their current positions and assist the owner while the ink dries on the contract. Another thing, we're told there will be no major changes of staffing or production for Revolt TV employees. Our sources say that over time, the new owner will implement their vision, but for the time being, things will mostly remain the same as the transition occurs. The one thing everybody's wondering, is this news in any way connected to what's been going on with Diddy personally? On its face, the two things appear to be unrelated. As we're told, this has been getting hammered out well before Diddy's properties were raided Monday. So I would say it absolutely has to do with Diddy and Diddy's team, Diddy's advisors, basically catching the writings on the wall, reading the writings on the wall. He already had a pending lawsuit, right? And it seems like they wanted to prepare for the reckoning, for what's coming. So get rid of the shares, stop any of your interest, controlling interest in the company that you created. Cut your loss, because the corporately or I should say like corporate culturally forward facing in terms of the media and PR, it might not be a great look for Revolt to still be attached to Diddy from that perspective. But I could see his advisors going, okay, it's time to drop ties here and make as much money as you can off of that deal so that you have some extra money lying around to do what you need to do should everything hit the fan. Should we get to DEFCON 5, you need some extra liquid assets, liquid income. You feel me? A pool that you can pull from of cash of millions of dollars, liquid. So so even though this deal was set up from a while ago, because it takes time in terms of reviewing and SEC and things like that, to look at it and approve it. Because I'm sure him selling his shares, controlling shares, it's worth a lot of money, worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, this is a TV network, media company. So it was started a while ago and went through a lot of reviewing. But I see that being the case after what happened with Cassie, and he had to drop whatever amount that he had dropped to settle that case with her out of court and get her to not bring it to the public eye, to keep her quiet. I would think he'd want to have some kind of liquid, a lump sum of money, of cash influx to be prepared for what he might have to do. Diddy, I know there's a lot of our culture is throwing Diddy under the bus, and from a certain perspective, rightfully so. We have a lot of anecdotal, iffy, implicit things or statements that people have made over many years regarding how slimy Diddy is. So I can understand why people are like, who said I am? You know, people are really like, yo, this nigga, I get it. Put him under the jail, put him in jail. We don't have anything super proven yet, but I get it. I do think we should wait till stuff comes out before we start taking our pitchforks out. Like, we don't have to do that in record time for our own. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to do that in record time. Someone did come up with a very great perspective. What was it? Ugly Money TV on YouTube. Dude was like Harvey Weinstein, you know, Epstein, a few other Hollywood white people who ends up getting, you know, who were nabbed for illicit behaviors, illegal, illicit, coercive behaviors. We're not being dragged as much publicly as it seems like our own people are enjoying dragging Diddy. And it's a little rough. It's a little rough to see. Doesn't mean that he's innocent. Doesn't mean that anything that he everything he's done has been squeaky clean and spotless and great, and he's an amazing person. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we don't really know. So before we kind of go crazy, let's see what comes out, because clearly it's something going on. Is something going on? The FBI is pulling up to raid his mansions. Something's happening. But yeah, let's move on. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all think Diddy did it? Y'all think Diddy is, you know, we got a whole R. Kelly situation all over again? You think Diddy was diddling? P. Diddle? Let me know. All right, our next story. We're hitting NYC, and this is according to the Gothamist. What's going on with my thing right here? Why is this? What? Y'all got to be kidding me right now. Like, what? Why is this malfunctioning? Wow, this is trash. Man. All right. I will put this article down in the description. I kind of remember. I know what these things are. Oh, my Lord. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe my thing is jacking up. But head on a swivel. Show must go on. There was an article, according to the Gothamist, talking about how affordable housing, or how it seems like there are a lot of in New York City specifically, there have been a lot of luxury buildings being erected, a lot of new buildings being erected, with their pricing out the average New Yorker and the middle class. And it was like, okay, we've got affordable housing, but who is it for? Basically, that's what the article is asking. Because Eric Adams touts that we've got record highs of affordable housing and so on, these stats, but it may seem like that on paper. In real time, like living in the world, it's a problem. It's supposedly, or according to the numbers, the amount of affordable housing that is existing right now, so amount of affordable housing, lottery apartments, etc., or that are deemed that are being subsidized in some kind of way, are on par with the amount of new construction apartments that are just supposed to be full price and not affordable housing, right? But the problem that's happening, or that we're seeing here outside of the housing lottery, is that a lot of these places were erected very, very fast back in 2022 because of certain tax abatement legislation or laws, policies becoming expiring. So they wanted to have their constructions going so that their constructions counted in the 421A, if I'm not mistaken, tax abatement. Right. And so they had that erected, and there are apartments that they have erected that are part of these buildings that are essentially designated as affordable housing, but they're going for like $4,000 rent. Some weird discrepancy having to do with the designation and the timing that they were built in, the timing that they fell under that designation. Now, the crisis that's been happening in New York has to do with seemingly a scooping out of the middle class and or a moving of the goalpost or moving of the designation to where middle class is now. Excuse me. Meaning that more ranges of income count under lower class and lower middle class and poverty than was the case about 8 years ago. This is how quickly this development has happened, especially since COVID. Seemingly a huge reshuffle happened during the lockdowns. A lot of land and buildings and ownerships changed hands during the lockdowns. And here we are now with a housing crisis, because not only is it a lot to qualify for like a condo, but in the spirit seemingly of gentrification, especially here in the Bronx, I can speak for the Bronx, in the spirit of gentrification, because it's happening everywhere else in Brooklyn and so on, but they're already gentrified. But Bronx, in the spirit of gentrification, we've got, let's see, the Mott Haven, I think, in the South Bronx, Hunts Point, that whole like sort of bottom of Hunts Point is the poorest part of New York City. And we've had a record number of luxury buildings built in the poorest part of New York City. When I tell you the poorest part, I mean they built these luxury condos or luxury apartments, buildings, high rises, a whole pack of them, a whole village of them, right by the Triborough Bridge / RFK eye roll, the Triborough Bridge, the poorest part of the city. When I tell you these things are across the street from the projects, this is how poor this area is. They built these luxury apartments, apartment buildings. I mean, full luxury, Amazon boxes in it, athletic facilities, gyms attached to it, all kinds of amenities, right? So you build it there, and basically in the Gothamist, part of that question is for who? Because in order to afford to live there as a single person, you've got to, or just in general, single or two people into a one bedroom or a studio, even a studio, you have to make over $85,000. And there's other maintenance fees on top of that. So in this community, we're wondering, like, who are these buildings for? Because they're not for anyone who lives here. Because, I mean, the median income in the poorest part of New York is hella poor, 20,000, something like that, real low. So it's like y'all are trying to attract a different demographic. And so then we understand that, oh, okay, this is gentrification, it's forced gentrification. Mind you, up to this point, these buildings built in like 2022, 2023 have gone largely vacant. They're not to capacity in any way, shape, or form. Most of the units are unrented. So the Gothamist was talking about, just to give y'all some backstory, that we've got a lot of properties in the lottery, and I can attest to this. A lot of properties in the lottery, but there are still properties in the lottery that are listed for like $4,000 a month, and they're supposed to be affordable housing. But it's like they put housing in the lottery, designated it as affordable housing, but meant to cater to $110,000 a year people all the way up to $165,000 a year people. And it's like, well, if this is meant to be affordable housing, why are we catering to this set of people, right? And then it's interesting what their qualifications are for affordable housing, because even the apartments are so expensive at, like, let's say you would think a housing price for, say, a one bedroom might be $1,300, $1,400, a moderate one, not even like a gigantic palatial apartment that takes up the whole floor. It's a loft or something. It's a little one bedroom, right? You'd think $1,400, $1,500. The government subsidizing it, so they're bringing it down low so people with lower incomes can still live in the city. No, that's not what's happening. So as much as as much as the rents for everything have gone up for everything that's non-affordable housing, it also goes up for affordable housing. So if you want a 1-bedroom, you are probably looking at a $2,400 rent. And that's $2,400, of course, in a new construction, because most of them are new constructions. That's $2,400 in an all-electric building. So that means that your heat, everything is electric. Hot water's electric. So your electric bills are going to be very high, more higher than they would normally be if you were in an oil boiler or gas boiler building, where often the heat is covered, the oil's covered, which is quite high. So you think a 1-bedroom is supposed to be affordable housing, $2,400 for a 1-bedroom, $2,000 even for a studio, not even 600 square feet for one room. So it's like, why are we calling this affordable housing? And then it's very peculiar because with affordable housing, there are certain square footage rules regarding occupancy of a home, of an apartment in New York City. I'm forgetting the specific amount, but depending on the square footage, they will allow you to have a certain amount of people in the apartment, right? So you have a studio and you're a family of 4 or 5. Generally speaking, renters are not supposed to rent to you, a little 600 square foot studio, 400 square foot studio, a 1-room for these people. You're not necessarily supposed to. It's not safe. There's rules for that. But when you hit affordable housing, they kind of reward you with lower prices if you have many people living with you, which is very interesting because I'm like, who's gonna talk about this sort of headbutting of rulings of rules and policies and legality? Because if we can't have but so many people, landlords can't have but so many people inside of an apartment because it's illegal. Then how are we doing? Why is the affordable housing lottery rewarding people who are trying to get a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, giving them cheaper prices if they have more than 5 people, more than 4 occupants? Very interesting. This housing crisis is really, really messed up. And it's really not a housing crisis. It's more of a wage crisis. It's more of an economic crisis, right? Because it's not that they're not building enough buildings. The Bronx specifically has been rezoned. A lot of areas have been rezoned so that developers can build high-rise buildings. The Bronx, highest buildings in the Bronx were in very specific places, and they didn't even get that high. So most of the Bronx is relegated to like 7-floor apartments, 10-floor apartments. If you want to talk about tall buildings, that's about as far as it went. So they're pretty short. They rezoned. So now you have, 20-floor buildings, high rises like Manhattan, like LIC, Long Island City, high rises, luxury high rises now. So they rezoned and all of that. So it's not that it's a shortage of apartments. There's an economic problem here, an economic problem with wages, economic problem all stemming from inflation and taxation, where rises in wages have not caught up with what's happening with inflation, which I kind of called on the podcast, I think a while ago. I forget which episode, because it was back when Biden was touting, we're going to bring the minimum wage up, when everybody was talking about minimum wage. I knew that if you bring minimum wage up, either it's going to be that people are going to have to get fired and we're going to have a large scale joblessness because companies cannot afford to keep their people if they have to pay them another $10 more because the minimum wage is $13 or $15. That means everybody else's wages has to go up, right? To match that increase. I knew either they had to downsize everyone or something was going to happen with the value of the dollar. And that's what happened, the value of the dollar. The Biden administration, the powers that be, the government tanked the value of the dollar purposefully or seemingly in order to save the economy, quote unquote. But it's like not the lesser of two evils. I guess it is the lesser of two evils because corporations need workers, and those CEOs and those founders, they need their money and their investors. So in order to keep everything running, we tank the value of the dollar so that the $15 an hour person whose minimum wage is $15, that $15 doesn't go very far. So the $15 is as if you're still working for $7 an hour because your $15 doesn't go anywhere really, because the dollar's value goes down, all of the prices go up. Everything goes up in thing. It takes more money to be able to do things. So you can't really move around the way that you want to if you're making $15 an hour. And at this point, with the way it is, it's such a bad economic crisis that, I mean, people who are making $165,000, $200,000 a year are still struggling. They're still they're still bare minimum surviving. Will this get fixed? I don't think so. I don't really see a fix yet. I am developing that political theory to what that fix could possibly look like. I don't think Trump is the answer. I don't think he has the answer. It could be in oil. It could be in kind of reversing all of the Bidenomics nonsense that has been happening, all the malarkey. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, yes, all right, this one worked. All right, we don't have a whole lot of time. I think I might relegate my review of Ghostbusters to either its own video, so you might be getting two free content videos, or I will put it on the Patreon, and if I don't put it on the Patreon, you're gonna get it next week. Anyway, I just don't want to belabor the I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want y'all to be here for too long. I'm not trying to get over an hour. We did that for the Marvels episode. When I did my review of the Marvels, I mean, that was one of the longest videos I've ever done. One of the longest pieces of content that I've ever done. Just nonstop recording. Sorry for that, guys. I know I did get a lot of views on it, on the YouTube video and on the audio, but I'm not going to sit here and try to do 2 hours again. That was taxing. But here we go. So for our final story on our episode, which is a very interesting one, it's a very ha one. I don't think the powers that be predicted this, that are running the agenda. Here we go. This is according to Fox News. Mexican president says the flow of migrants will continue unless the U.S. meets his demands. Woo! That is wild. The interviewer recalled that critics derided Obrador's requests as diplomatic blackmail. It's time. All right, here we go. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador warned on Sunday during an interview in 60 Minutes that unless the United States complies with Latin America's requests for aid, the tide of migrants will continue. Oh, my Lord. I didn't anticipate this. In January, golly, this last name. In January, Obrador issued a series of demands of what the U.S. must do to stop the flow of migrants to the border, ranging from sending Latin American countries $20 billion in aid per year to granting some level of amnesty to illegal immigrant workers in the United States. Mexico has reportedly taken some state-level action to curb mass migration at President Biden's request. So this is a deal that President Biden made, making crossings drop. However, the number of migrants began to rise again in February, with Border Patrol expecting another surge in the spring. Wow. Quote, everybody thinks you have the power in this moment to slow down migration. Do you plan to? 60 Minutes correspondent Sharon Alphonse Said asked Obrador, quote, we do and want to continue doing it, but we do want for the root causes to be attended to, for them to be seriously looked at, end quote. A translator interpreted Obrador's response from Spanish. Alfonsi noted Obrador's demands for the U.S. to send $20 billion a year to Latin American countries, lift sanctions on Venezuela, end the Cuban embargo, and legalize millions of Mexicans that are living in the U.S. Quote, if they don't do the things that you've said need to be done, then what? She asked. Quote, the flow of migrants will continue, Obrador responded. So Biden made a deal with Obrador to help to deter these caravans and the crossing of the border from the Mexico side, right? Right. I never heard of this deal, never heard of this meeting. And it seems like that's how, over the past few months on the campaign trail, Biden, or at least his handlers and his writers, have been able to say with a straight face that, look, migration's down. Look, it's flatlined. Look, it's very interesting. So now he sort of says the quiet part out loud on purpose, outs Biden, and is now trying to blackmail the United States government. Would this have happened under Trump? I don't think so. I don't think that administration, not even Trump, but that administration would play these kinds of games. I don't think DOJ would play these kinds of games. Like, forget Trump. DOJ. Trump would allow them to do what they wanted to do. But under Biden, it's a different story. DOJ is hostile towards the Biden administration and vice versa. So there's problems there, getting all the ducks in a row and in order, getting all the troops lined up. The flow isn't there. But this is wild. I didn't think that this was going to happen. I didn't anticipate that Mexico would have the balls to do this. It's wild that they want us to basically subsidize. The idea is that in asking for these things, specifically the $20 billion a year in aid, whatever that means, Mexico wants us to subsidize the failure of the various governments of Latin American countries. That's wild. The amount of corruption that takes place in a lot of these countries' governments is appalling. And one of the demands, quote unquote, the ransom, is give $20 billion a year to these countries to lift sanctions on Venezuela, given what the Venezuelan government does to its people. We're supposed to bless them. I'm interested to see what's going to happen here. Because remember, back in the day, when Trump administration was there, the predecessor, we had a stay in Mexico policy. We had deals with Mexico. You do this, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. Remember that? We didn't have all this migration. And the media was cooking Trump for wanting in the public for wanting to put a wall across the entire southern border to try to limit crossings, make it difficult. More troops, more workers, more cameras, more working cameras. And he got cooked. And here we are now. The wall is still being constructed, actually, actively under Biden. Biden has put earmarked money for the wall to continue to be erected. The media is not cooking Biden for that. The media is only really now starting to turn on Biden. In terms of the administration. I say Biden. When I say that, I mean the administration. And it's problematic now. You can't defend it. You can't defend Biden. You can't defend the policies anymore because we're starting to see it spill out into the streets of America. Numerous gang members, gang affiliated individuals, entities crossing the border, unvetted, that may have otherwise not been able to cross the border under Trump, possibly, out here killing people, out here committing crimes. And it doesn't mean that every single immigrant is doing that, but it shows that politically or ideologically, we should not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And that's what our polarizing sort of media entities want to happen. That's what the overall agenda is, to keep the country destabilized, to kill nationalism. Because if all of us together cannot stand for something together, then we will be easily turned against each other. We're not sober minded. So if we can they can convince us that we're enemies on varying different levels, then we will never unite. We will never actually try to uncover our shared enemy, because we're not looking for our shared our commonalities, our shared interests, our shared goals. We won't care about what our shared goals are. We only care about how we differ. And this is where we're at now. So you've got straight up crime happening, increasing in places, dramatically. And the media not wanting to call out the elephant in the room. It happens a lot in New York City politically with the political forward-facing entities. They don't want to call a spade because of whatever agenda is existing. Let me know what y'all think about this. Mexico trying to blackmail the American government, trying to essentially blackmail the taxpayers because we would be footing the bill for that $20 billion a year to subsidize and line the pockets of corrupt leaders in Latin America. Whose countries, not all of them, I'm not trying to stereotype, not trying to monolith here. Not all of them are. Some of them are prosperous, but I'm very sure President of Mexico, Obrador, is not talking about prosperous countries. It's not talking about Argentina that's doing great. He's not talking about there. He wants to funnel money into these corrupt places and help his corrupt cronies gain favor with them, garner favor with them. That's what it looks like. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Yeah, what do y'all think about this? Mexico blackmailing us. And does this make you rethink Biden, or at least the trajectory of our government, the trajectory essentially of the culture of our country? Does it make you rethink it? Rethink maybe we were a little bit rash with the LGBT influences, a little bit rash with Marxism creeping in, a little bit rash with intersectional feminism, a little bit rash, and kind of just allowing it all to homogenize in itself. You know what I'm saying? And then we come to a very sort of watered down sense of unity. You think maybe? If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know too. I want to hear you guys' opinions. But that was our last story. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. For those of you who might have lasted this long, it may not, it may have been that all of y'all are gone by now, but thank y'all so much. We really appreciate it. I have a great time here, y'all. I'm looking forward to the next episode. This episode being up over on the Patreon, you will at the very least have the audio version of the bonus episode where we're going to talk about some things over there. So you could, right after this, click on over to the Patreon. Again, link in the description. We've got merch, y'all. So merch will also be down there in the description, and links to whatever, all the things that I brought up today, will be down in the description so that y'all can read it and form your own opinions, which is very important. Process it. Thank y'all so much. Be blessed. Have a great Holy Week. And see y'all next week. Deuces.